Welcome to another edition of the Pekin First podcast. My name is Josh, and I get the absolute pleasure of serving as the online ministries director right here at Pekin First.
Well, good morning, Josh, and good morning, everyone. My name is Sean. I'm the pastor here at Pekin First, and it's my pleasure to be joining you again this week on the podcast.
All right, this is episode 40 called The Bigger Picture. This is going to be in relationship to the hardships we go through, and we're going to explore a little bit of the Bible, the Old Testament of Job.
Yeah. Good old Job.
Good old Job. The way we start each episode is this week's personal best, and I think I'll let you go first again.
All right. I've been thinking about it this morning in preparation, and I think that really, if I'm honest, my personal best has just really kind of occurred at 6 o'clock this morning when I walked out the door, the front door, to take some trash out, and I felt what I can only describe as a pre-autumn type of atmosphere, and I'm excited about that, and that just makes me feel good that we are headed toward autumn here, and it's kind of early, in the fall to get some nice weather like this. But I've had several really good things happen this week, but I've been waiting for autumn. This will be my second year here, full year here in Central Illinois, and I'm excited about it. So it feels good, and I'm looking forward to the cooler days to come.
Awesome. Yeah, it's unusually cool this weekend, so going to be in the low 70s. My personal best happened last weekend, I guess, this last weekend. On Friday night, I was out mowing, and my girls text me, one of my 18 and 19-year-old, and text me and said, "Hey, we've turned off our location, but I promise we're doing great things," right? Because that's for those of you who, if you listen to this podcast, or you know that my tagline is, God put us here to do great things, so let's go do great things. And it has been for the past several years. And so they told me that, and then I was out mowing or whatever, and they came home, and I was really dirty and sweaty, and I had weed eated and just covered from head to toe in grass and dirt. And what they had done is they had went and got a tattoo. They have recently turned 18 and 19 years old and are exploring the art of tattooing. And on their arm, right below their elbow on the inside, they put do great things. And my stepdaughter, Grace, who is a daughter to me, made a post, and she put in there, she had hundreds of texts where I had texted her and said, "Go do great things," or "You're doing great things," and Avery, my other daughter, same thing. I constantly tell my girls to go do great things, and it's taken to heart. So they had it permanently put on their body.
That's awesome. So
and
good.
Friday night, in all honesty, Friday night, I was so sweaty and so dirty, it didn't really hit home. Saturday morning is when it hit, right? Yeah. And I'm seeing the post as I get up early on Saturday mornings and prep for some stuff. And it hit early in the morning. So
Yep.
So that is this week's personal best for me.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one, because that's, when your kids respond. I remember one time I back when Twitter was a thing, and my kids were doing Twitter. This was way before the kids got into whatever they're into now, Instagram and Snapchat and all the other things. But when my kids were probably early in college, I remember one day my daughter tweeted something that I had said in a sermon. And, I responded and said, when your kid says something that you said in the sermon, #priceless, it's just a moment like, wow, okay, we're doing something right here as a parent. And when I saw that post that your daughters put up, I was moved as well, thinking, gosh, Josh has got to be super proud dad this morning right now. Yeah.
I was super proud.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, we all have our Facebook friends, and so I'm at with Marigold Festival getting ready to fire up. I'm at a lot of events and a lot of meetings, and at every meeting, people are asking me about it because of the post, and just I had one lady say, I sat in a parking lot and cried while I read this post,
Yeah.
thinking, I don't know what I've said to my kids that they would remember.
Right.
And I said, I'm sure you have, right? Because she's a very inspirational person. So it's a very proud dad moment for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Lesson for us all, just don't ever underestimate the things that you say to your kids, especially those repetitive kinds of things. I mean, I think those are the things that really stick. And simple phrases do great things. I mean, that's just something that they'll carry with them forever now, literally.
For sure. For sure. All right, this is episode 40 called The Bigger Picture. This is all about how we process the bad things that happen in life, right? Or what we perceive to be the bad things that happen in life. Perhaps we're dealing with a job loss or financial trouble, which seems to be a common thing in today's world. Death of a loved one, that's always hard to deal with. I once had a pastor tell me, as a Christian, you grieve different because you grieve with hope, right? Maybe you're asking, and we've all asked it, why do bad things happen to good people? So we're going to explore the story of Job because he was put under the ultimate test. And we're going to explore how faith is tested, how it is, maybe not tested is kind of the wrong word, but how faith brings us through those tough times to prepare us for the good.
Yeah, it's a great story, and maybe we should have started with this week's worst instead of this week's best, in light of where we're heading with this, right?
Right. So in Job, so preparing for this all week, as I'm paying attention to what's going on around me, to what is God putting on my heart to do this week, it was very evident as it popped up in my Facebook feed, because that's a lot of, right, the algorithm that Facebook tells me is a lot of what I feel that inspires me. And then I watched a movie, and I don't remember. I was trying this morning to remember the name of the movie, and I meant to ask Anna before she left for work, but I forgot. We watched this movie this week, and it's about a football player who's a really great person, Christian, inspires his football team, and I don't even remember where they played. It was a college. Inspired his college football team, made it to, it was Arizona Razorbacks. The Razorbacks. Arkansas Razorbacks. But he was an Arkansas Razorback, and he inspired his entire team, and he was driving home. He was just getting ready to sign with an NFL team. He was driving home from college after he was an All-American, driving home from college, and got hit by a semi. And this movie goes through the process of dealing with that. Why do bad things happen to good people?
Yeah.
So in Job, as he is lost his kids, as he's lost his all his things, and he's got sores on his body. Job 2:9-10 says, his wife said to him, "Are you still maintaining your integrity? Curse God and die." And in verse 10 he says, he replied, you are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble? And I found that inspiring because in that movie, they said, one guy said, we are the ones that make God inconsistent.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, there's some deep theological stuff in the book of Job that scholars have been wrestling with for years and arguing over for years. Does God cause the bad things to happen to people? And, in the beginning of Job, there's a narration about the conversation that was had between God and Satan, that they were having a conversation around this guy Job, and God said, "Have you observed my servant Job, how godly he is?" And Satan says, "Well, if you let me do this to him, he's going to turn his back on you." And God essentially says, you're free to do whatever you want to do, except you can't take his life. And as you say, all this terrible stuff happens to Job. The enemy of our soul, the devil, Satan, whatever we want to call it, has free reign in this world, and we are attacked in many ways because of Satan. We're attacked in many ways because of our own poor choices. Things happen in our lives for a number of reasons. God doesn't cause these things to happen, but the promise is that God will work good through them all. And that's where we have that hope. you just quoted the passage where the wife says, curse God and die. I mean, sometimes our closest people, the people who love us the most, just say, how are you even, just go ahead and just turn your back on God entirely. We face those kinds of things too. The temptations to say, just forget it all. Just don't even believe in a God anymore because all this terrible stuff is happening. And so many people have gone that direction where they've just said, I can't reconcile a loving God, an all good God with all of the evil that I see around me. So this idea of theodicy, and that's what that is how do you reconcile the evil and the pain and the suffering in the world with a good, loving, just God? And the only answer for us is to say that the evil and the destruction and the pain of this world is a result of numerous different things happening, including our own poor choices, the poor choices of other people, the result of an enemy that is attacking us as Christians and as humans, and to trust that God weeps with us, that God's heart breaks along with us, that God suffers with us, and that God wants us to know that he didn't cause this to happen, but he will bring redemption through it for us if we'll trust him. And that's the story of Job. He finally says, look, I'm not going to curse God, and I'm not going to listen to my friends who tell me that I don't have enough faith and that, there must be something wrong with me, because that's the answer that a lot of people give a lot of times. Like, well, maybe if you just had more faith, maybe maybe you've done something wrong and God's mad at you. Those are terrible ways of trying to deal with the problem of evil. Problem evil is, and I think the easiest way to think of it for me is stuff happens. Stuff happens. It's not God's fault. There's no cosmic intervention that's taking place to make all these things happen. Stuff just happens because we live in a broken world, because we live in broken bodies. We're all human. Because of the fall, we've inherited this broken nature, and we have to learn to deal with the pain and the suffering in this life in a healthy way. And that's what Job ultimately does in the end. He gets to a point where he does say to God, can you maybe give me an answer about why? And God says, no, I'm not going to give you. I'm God, you're not. You don't need to know why. You just need to know that you're good, that I'm with you, and everything's going to be okay. And Job goes, yep, you're right. I've said too much. Shut my mouth now. I'm just going to trust you, God. And then everything's restored to him. Spoiler, if you haven't read the book, right. It gets good in the end because God says you were faithful through this process. And, that there's a great praise song that comes out of this, that song, Blessed Be Your Name, it's directly from the book of Job. Blessed be your name. The Lord gives, the Lord takes away, but blessed be the name of the Lord. And, so there's just some deep stuff in there. And I think the bottom line for us, and for me, it has always been, pain happens, brokenness happens, stuff happens. We're going to face difficult things in this life. Bad things are going to happen to good people. But God is always in it. God never turns his back. God has never gone from it. God is there suffering with us, going through the pain with us, and bringing some sort of comfort and hope through the process.
Yeah. And you said, if friends say, well, maybe your faith isn't strong enough, and it reminded me of Steve Martin. And I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's an old movie, and I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's about, he's a healer, and he says only if your faith is strong enough, and that's not true. To me, it's not, because you should always be faithful, whether the good things happen or the bad things happen,
right.
Or what we perceive as bad things, because what may be bad to me may not be bad to someone else. That's the flip side of this coin,
right.
Is we have what we call that. We have I don't even know what you call it. The working people problems, or what do you, I don't know what you call it, but where we have shelter over our head, but things go wrong. We have food in our bellies, but things go wrong, right? Be grateful for what you have. And that's what, as I read this story, because I reread the story of Job as it started to pop up in my timeline. And I spent yesterday morning reading the story of Job. And there's a lot of text in there. There's a lot of conversation. There's a lot of, and it's a lot to process. Mm-hmm. And when God is talking to Job and he says, were you there when I did this? Were you there when I did this? I am the creator I will walk you through this. You
Yeah.
just have faith.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So having faith in everything, even through, in this movie that me and my wife watched this weekend or this week, you know, the brother says, I don't understand why you can be, because the mom was joyful, maybe not joyful, but not affected like the brother was. And the brother says, I don't understand how you're processing this way. And she says, because the blessing was he was here as long as he was here. That was the blessing.
Right.
And he affected. So look at all the people that he affected while he was here.
Right. Yeah. Trying to, not twist it, but turn the emphasis on the good that came out of the life, the good that was done there. There's a number of ways to deal with it, and it's always amazing to me that people of great faith, deep, strong faith, they manage to make it through horrible tragedies in a way that just seems impossible to others sometimes. People look at him and just go, how are you doing this? And it's the faith. It's the faith to believe and trust that even in the darkest moments, even in the worst situations, God has brought something good through it, and God will continue to bring something good through it.
Well, and we talk about loss of a loved one, but even like job loss.
Yeah.
And so I had talked to Brad Everett a couple months ago. We had done a focus on ministry, and it was on the grief group that was going at the time. I'm not sure if it still is, but and he said, we have people who have lost loved ones. We have people who have lost jobs. We have people who have lost marriages, because loss is loss. And that kind of hit home with me, because back in 2008, during the housing bubble or whatever, I was managing 2 car dealerships, and General Motors filed bankruptcy at that time. That might have been 2009, but General Motors filed bankruptcy and cut Saturn. I was managing 2 Saturn dealerships and cut Saturn, and I found myself all of a sudden out of the job.
Yeah.
Right. And not knowing what I was going to do. And I was looking back, I was relatively calm, and I didn't know why. Right. I was younger then, so you don't seem to panic as much when you're, when you're younger. But just knowing that God was going to bring me through that. And at the time, did I think that? Probably not, but
Right.
God kept me calm. And the good that came out of that was I am so much more diverse now than I was, because of the job that it brought me. And it was a connection through the car business that brought me into managing property that I knew absolutely nothing about. Right. I had no experience in it.
Right.
And has just broadened my horizons and that's the blessing that came out of it. I was living a really good life in the car business, going through the financial difficulty and just the uncertainty to come through it. And on the other side, have so much diversity is the blessing.
Right. And I think I've said this on the podcast before, but it's worth repeating. And that is that sometimes the stuff that we go through enables us to be able to more effectively minister to people who are going through that kind of thing. Because you can literally say to somebody, I know what you're going through. I know what you're feeling. And, in the middle of the pain and the suffering, that's not all that helpful. But in the aftermath, you begin to see, because I know so many people have been through like horrible addiction, and they've recovered and they've made it through. And now, some of our most thriving United Methodist churches in this country right now are addiction-based kinds of ministries, churches that are designed to reach people who are in recovery or who are struggling with the things of life. And people are finding that hope in the stories of other people, So don't ever, I always say to people, don't hide your scars, keep your scars. Jesus kept his scars. When he revealed himself to the disciples after his resurrection, he looked different except for his scars. He kept the scars. The scars are our story. The scars remind us that we've been through something, and the scars remind us that we can leverage that experience to care for and love others in a way that some other people aren't going to be able to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you're going through something right now, maybe it could be something as a job loss or a family loss, or if it's you're having trouble in a relationship, or that's a loss too. But as you walk through these things, have faith. Do not make God inconsistent. God is the most consistent thing in our lives, and we are the ones that make him inconsistent.
That's right.
So just have faith all the way through it. That on the other side, it is better. I seen this and I don't remember where I seen it. Maybe you said, I don't know. But part of it is use your head and the feeling in your stomach. And when the thought's on the way from your head to your stomach, stop in the middle and check the heart, right?
Wow, yeah.
Because that is how good decisions are made.
Right.
So, and I tend to open my mouth before it crosses the heart. So that's part of it too.
Yeah. Yeah, it surely is.
Yep. All right. So there are all kinds of things going on in and around Pekin First. We are creeping up to Marigold time. I was just telling you, I had a couple meetings. I do a ton for the Marigold Festival, and it's so close. It's 2 weeks away. It's actually more like a week and a half away.
I know.
So we have all kinds of stuff here. We have the prime parking spot. So I was just in a meeting and we're going over all the parking, and with some construction projects going on, we're losing some of our parking. So, but Pekin First has some prime parking, and we can greet people as they pull into our lot, as they're walking across our lot, because people park on the streets behind us and walk through our lot to get to Art in the Park there. And it's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to welcome people to the church, to the parking lot, give them a bottle of water. So here's what we're looking for. We're looking for some people to be on the greeting team, the parking team, just the hospitality team, I guess, all together, and help people get parked, help them, point them in the right direction, and maybe say a prayer with them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different ways that you can serve, and this is our way of being. This is probably our primary number one top ministry opportunity during the year for us to connect with people in our community in a real tangible way. So if you are part of the church and want to serve, please let us know that. There are sign-up sheets in the narthex of the sanctuary. If you're coming to worship, you can sign up there, and we'll put you to work. And it's good work. It's fun work. It's really a way of really blessing and loving our community and showing radical hospitality.
And it's going to be a little warm that day, so we'd like to hand out some water. So if you can donate a case of water, the south doors are open, which are the doors closest to Court Street here at the church. Just shove a case of water in the door, right? You don't even have to say hi to anybody. Just shove a case of water in the door, and that would be awesome.
Water,
a pallet of water,
that would be good too.
Yep,
Bring a truckload.
Yep, you can actually just drop it underneath the awning, and we'll take care of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So all kinds of stuff going on with that. The other thing that Pekin First does for the Marigold Festival, and as I'm in charge of layout and safety for the park that weekend, and the thing that makes my job so much easier, and it warms my heart to see the giving that Pekin First does to the Marigold Festival, is the bus. And because we have it, there's been Saturdays where we got 5,000 to 7,000 people in the park. It's a lot. Yeah. And people have to park so far away. So what the bus does is it goes out to those farther parking lots and brings everybody, drops you off right in the heart of the festival.
Right.
And it's so awesome. So we're looking for some drivers for that. We've had to adjust a few schedules just to make sure that our vendors can get back and forth, which we're so grateful for Pekin First for being helping a moving target for sure. So there's looking for that. We're also in the middle of Rock Socks and Shoes. And last year, I think Debbie said, or Emmy said, that we did 24 or something like that, kids. Right. This year, we're doing 42. We're putting 42 pairs of shoes on kids with the help of donations coming in from all kinds of organizations around here, and the help with the generosity of Pekin First. this is a great ministry.
Yeah, and
For
we're
sure.
grateful for Shoe Depot and their partnership with us on this. We give the children and their families a voucher. They take it over and they get the kids a brand new pair of shoes for school. It's such a great way to bless those in our community that really have a need. So if you want to support that, you can give a monetary donation to that, and 100% of your gift goes right to these children and their families to help with getting shoes and socks for the new year.
Sure. And then, so last week, we're going to do a little bit of church business here. Last week, we had a church conference, and we did a vote on basically the long and the short of it. And this is my synopsis of it, is getting people out of meetings to do God's work and do it faster. And be where people are. And it's unified, accountable structure, right?
Yeah, simplified or strategic
Yeah.
accountable structure. Yeah, it's a new kind of single board leadership model that the United Methodist Church has implemented and given all the churches an opportunity to move to that model, and we unanimously approved it at church conference. That was going to be my great moment of the week, but I decided I'd go with the cool weather instead. But
Right.
yeah, no, it was a great feeling, and I'm grateful for the church for their willingness to support this. I think it's going to be a really great thing for the church moving forward.
So we've only got a couple minutes left, but let's walk through and very quickly, but because there has always been questions of, okay, now what's next?
Yeah.
So let's walk through just the next 2 steps or 3 steps of what happens for the new structure.
Okay, well, the first thing is going to be that our nominations and leadership development team will meet. So there is a team called Nominations and Leadership Development. Their primary task is to identify leaders within the church and to invest in them and help them become leaders. So in the past, what they've done is they've had to identify people to be on all these different committees, and it makes it very difficult. But now they've got the task of identifying 9 people. Those 9 people will be asked to be a part of the team. If they agree to do that, we have a coach that we're working with, Reverend Carol Lakota Easton, former district superintendent, and she's going to have a 1-day retreat with all the leaders and myself in October at some point, where she's going to train them and prepare them for their very first day and their first meeting in January. And on November 9th, we'll have our church charge conference, and we'll approve that 9-team leadership team. And then January 1st, they'll hit the ground running and begin the process of administrating and leading the church through that model.
So it just makes the nominations job easier,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
we don't have to bring as many people in to do leadership roles or
Right.
clerical roles or whatever that looks
Right.
like. And those people, instead of meeting once a month, they can go do God's work, and we can do all kinds of ministries now. And I'm super excited about it, just even as a staff member, just because starting a new ministry, which we've done with online ministries, starting a new ministry is never easy, and it's got to go through 5 different committees, and now it doesn't. So
Right.
it just made sense.
Yeah.
So awesome. All right. I think that's all we have for this week. It has been a great podcast. Anything to add?
Just come to church this weekend if you're looking for a place. If you're watching and you're not part of a church, you would be welcome here. Saturday night, 5 o'clock, Sunday morning, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., online, 10 a.m. Check us out. Bring your children. We have children's ministry for the little ones, and it's going to be a great weekend, so hope we'll see you.
Absolutely. All right. And remember, God put us here to do great things. So let's go do great things.